Hey, I'm watching
videos in the series of how to interact with
the
them.
last one,
So I think this will be the
number
last of my
15.
videos in the series of how to
What?
interact with the Trump family in his
It's
90s,
the
their 90s, because I
8th of
think you
June,
guys, as much as I've proven that I've sent
2025
emails
today.
to you saying, hey, it might be worth checking these videos which have ideas about how to interact with them, and it's assuming you
11
are
views
sane,
3 months ago.
matured Homo sapien, which
And of course, it's an
there isn't any,
assumption
but
that
they
has
could
already been
still
falsified.
try it. They could still say,
If you watch
this
this
is what it's like
series, it
for us
has
to interact with
21
you.
items.
But the thing is when the us
Uh,
is so much more
there's,
similar than the you, the Trumps, then
there's barely any views. And I think the G7 are meeting this weekend, and what I'm finding in the last week in the patterns of Carney and his followers is intellectual laziness to not deviate from seeing the world only through the lens of the economic forums that relate even more to the the elites than the general population they serve as public servants. Hey, I just watched an awesome video, man, and I couldn't even write comments. It was a Cowichan Regional District led study on the train, from Victoria to Courtney. And I tell you, I lived on the island a long time, and I was very disappointed that they canceled the train for passengers soon after bicycles were being allowed, because I'd been there a long time, but I still wanted to explore more with bicycles. Not just me, but with students. And, it's a solvable issue. And now that I'm saying it to you guys again, will you guys be able to solve this? Which will have benefits for the population. By the way, if you're building a train and rail as a category, which is just a little bit more than I think the train only version, is, again, I'm telling you, look at Korea. I was cycling there. I filmed videos where sometimes you're under the train. Now, of course, that would bring up the price a lot more than just leaving it on the ground, but there are ways to kind of do bicycle paths and walking paths along train tracks that maybe you guys haven't figured out yet. But that video was awesome. The narration, the text for it, and the data and the way it was provided, I think in less than 8 minutes, was an awesome video. I'm gonna send it to you guys, hoping, because I've been saying for years and years how the best way to make Canada strong is to link it by rail in ways that reinvent culture and diversity, and that make sure that big cities don't keep growing, because you spread people out in that way. And you spread it, and you create ideas for different villages that grow into towns, and hopefully not too big of cities, but that are specific to people's lifestyles or ideologies or beliefs, but also creativity, right? Uh, and also skill sets, and also products that they can do that we've been, addicted to getting from other countries. Because, global warming will make it that if you build a greenhouse the right kind of way, you don't need to get most of that stuff from Mexico anymore. And I'm not saying I'm against getting stuff from Mexico, but it's not as healthy, and I'm not just saying economically, but nutritionally, to get it from there as it is from closer there. Now, there are various ways that, you can still partake in international relations, but really be more of a grown-up that knows how to survive if you move away from home. And moving away from home is kind of moving away from the United Nations, even NATO, is just start reducing the kind of problems that makes these organizations required, but they still fail because you don't address what's wrong up here that creates these problems. So address what's up here, put the lifestyle happiness index in there, put the lifelong learner type of philosophy and the way to live life. bring back the concept of owning land if you develop it in parts of these new train tracks that interconnect in places that are safe to live. And of course, safe to live won't mean that there's a glacial lake about to kind of collapse and take away that entire region of Canada. That's not where you want. So you'll need your geologists to care about the human condition. And really, that's what I see, Prime Minister Carney, is you show no interest in caring about the concept of the human condition. You're just in your magical economic paradigms. You're very good at it. That's your strength. That's what gives you confidence, as you are a bit insecure in this new realm of politics. But the thing is what connects all these realms, the religious, supernatural, non-real ones, the magical, monetary, non-real ones, and even the scientific ones, is the human condition. That's the basis of what is real. And talk about that. I'm not saying don't do sessions with journalists where you answer questions about what it's like interacting with Trump. And again, I in one of these videos I say, if he's invited at the G7, don't just get Modi to kind of open up more access to the information to find out what happened. Is get Trump to apologize to those leaders for what he said or what he did in a way that proves you're dealing with a grown-up. If he doesn't want to be a grown-up, then say, it's totally up to you if you're going to apologize for making all these statements, 51st state, whatever, or doing this that has an impact on people that you probably don't even want to know about what kind of impact it's having. Like the tariffs. I was listening on CBC how people are doing calculations after recalculations. If their boatload of imports would have gotten in on this day instead of the next day or the next day, like that kind of creating turmoil in people's lives. These kind of games that show you don't care to even make an effort to reference what your decisions have as impact on others, then, people can't make agreements with you. And if they do, they should really put very short time span. We're going to put you on, we're going to make this agreement. And again, it's maybe or maybe not better than the agreement we already had with the US and Mexico, but we're going to make it that it's renewed every year, and it's renewed on a probation of who breaks it or not. And if you keep breaking it, then people in your country will realize this, because we're putting it out there transparently how we're making decisions as leaders. They won't only not vote for you again, they will go very strongly on a non-apologetic president to be impeached and go to jail for many things. And of course, we're going to say, well, we're already stretching our ethics very thin as so-called adults ourselves to already enter agreements where your signature as a convicted criminal is allowed. Like, make an effort to give an apology. And Carney, you have to role model not the tough big daddy, but the mature, wise grown-up. I don't know if you can do that, and I don't think you can unless you reference the human condition, which is something you know very, very little about. And it's not just you, it's pretty much all of the elites you hang out with. You know very, very little about the real reality, the real state of the human condition.